ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive. Brought to you by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Local then, local now. Member FDIC.
It is Tuesday, March 31st. Your drive begins now on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. You can join the program by calling the Miller Lite phone lines at 877-420-TALK. That is 877-420-8255. Miller Lite, hold true, great taste. Only 96 calories. It is the original light beer. So we're in day number 5,433 of what it feels like anyway, of lockdown. And I figured today would be a good day to make that phone call to Chuck McGill. And so that's happening. Chuck, of course, is the czar of all good things at Marshall University. That's his official title at Marshall University, czar of all good things. Chuck's going to come on the program. We're going to talk to him a little bit. Marshall has done a great job with their social media accounts, keeping fans updated, engaged, interacting with Herd fans, letting Herd fans know what's up. Chuck's a big part of that, and of course, we're going to talk to him as he will be on the program with us here in a few minutes. And of course, we'll get your phone calls in later on at 877-420-TALK, 877-420-8255. I'm always looking for an excuse to talk to Chuck. He informed me today I don't need one. I do not need an excuse. So we're going to have fun with Chuck here coming up in the next few minutes. And of course, we'll go over everything that's happening in sports today. I do want to start with what's happening as far as the coronavirus in West Virginia. 28 counties now reporting confirmed cases. The State Department of Health and Human Resources said that the state has confirmed 17 new cases of coronavirus, bringing the state count to 162. 28 of the state's 55 counties have now reported a positive case. Kanawha and Monongalia counties both report 31 confirmed cases. That is the most among the counties. The DHHR said as of this afternoon, 4,143 residents have been tested for COVID-19, with 162 positive, 3,981 negative, and 1 death. So we just want to keep everything in perspective while we are trying to stay with you here and keep you moving forward here, as a lot of us are still either in home quarantine or limited access to getting out of the house. Essential workers, again, thank you to all essential workers who listen to this program. Definitely appreciate you being out there. And, of course, everyone else that is open right now, for those businesses that can remain open. Again, we've got a list on our website. If you are looking for places to go support, go to WRVC.com. We've got a list there of all the businesses that are trying to help you, staying open, drive through, carry out, whatever the case may be. We've got a list of businesses that you should definitely go support. Again, head to our website, WRVC.com. So what's happening today in sports? Well, we kind of knew this would happen. The KHSAA suspending spring sports indefinitely. So we're starting to get to that terminology now where we're going down the line further. We're finding out that we're pushing this back a little bit more as far as our quarantine is concerned. We're not going to see sport anytime soon, at least 30, 45 days. I think that's a fair, rough estimate. What happens after that, I don't know. But that's what we're looking at right now. So spring sports indefinitely suspended. In Kentucky, of course, West Virginia as well. Students are ordered to remain out of school, at home. You've got more remote learning going on. So the situation hasn't changed from that. The good news today, the NCAA voting Monday, approving a waiver for spring sport athletes because their seasons were cut short due to the spread of COVID-19. They're going to get an extra year of eligibility back. Now, financial aid for each athlete whose eligibility would have otherwise been exhausted in 2019-20 will be determined by the individual institution. So This is going to be a school-by-school basis. Again, you're trying to allow them the option to come back. At the same time, institutions are going to have to work and try to see where the finances work for them, because institutions already are feeling the pinch a little bit. They're not receiving as much money from the NCAA due to, of course, everything being shut down. The big line that we're going to look at next is football. That's the big line. If we cross a certain point where football is going to have to either be pushed back, postponed, canceled, those are the lines we're looking at right now. We've got plenty of time, though, to see where this goes. Trying to be optimistic here. It's definitely a fluid situation still to this day. But the good news is, hopefully we're all taking everyone's advice serious as far as medical institutions, doctors, healthcare. We're taking all that seriously. So I've been pretty impressed with so far the response for the most part in West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky. And, of course, everyone is doing their part. I know if you, or at least in the immediate area, and Barnesville did this last week. Huntington is following suit. No more access to the parks for a while for the most part. Again, trying to limit social interaction in large groups. I mean, common sense stuff. You can't congregate in large groups. That's the point of social distancing. That's the point of this. So that's where we stand now. Of course, we'll keep you updated on everything as the weeks progress. But when we come back from break, I want to talk to Chuck McGill. I just want to. That's it. That's all I have. That's the reason. I want to talk to Chuck McGill. I want to find out what's happening at Marshall University. Let the fun ensue when we continue with today's edition of The Drive here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Never miss a moment of The Drive with Paul Swann. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I want to welcome to the program now the Assistant Athletic Director for Fan Donor Engagement and Communications at Marshall University, and just an all-around fun guy. Chuck McGill is with us on the program. I mean, I could go over all of Chuck's honors, all of Chuck's duties, but I don't have an entire hour to do so. Let's just say he's really good at what he does, and he's on the program with us now. How you doing, sir?
Good, you?
I'm good. How you holding up? I mean, you're usually a guy that likes to go out, interact with people. I mean, that's kind of your job, fan donor engagement. It's kind of hard to engage when you're at your house.
Yeah, when you have engagement and communications in your job title, and if there's a stay-at-home order and your boss tells you to work remotely, I'm doing a lot of talking to pets. So, obviously hanging out with my family, but, it's tough. It's tough. I find myself at times, wanting to call up Mike Hamrick and say, tell me one of those stories you've told me 1,000 times. And I thought I would never say that, but now I miss that stuff.
Wow. That's,
I know.
Yeah, right?
I know.
I haven't seen Bill Cornwell in a week and a half. I haven't missed it. I will say that, though.
We can arrange that. I can figure out some way to quarantine him and bring him to you.
Let's swap. I'll give you Cornwell. I get Hamrick.
No deal.
No deal?
Sorry. Nope. Sorry, Bill.
What would you take for Cornwell? What would you give for Cornwell?
I don't know. It depends. I don't know. There's got to be a sweetener, though. No.
Okay. What do you want?
Usually, though, I mean, when we're on that, like if he's got some food with him, like that's our bond on the road for football. We find good restaurants on these football road trips and go out and so he's got some good value there. So if he's got he loves barbecue. So if he's got some good barbecue with him, then I think we got to even swap.
Okay, I'm going to work on that for you. We're going to get back to you.
Yeah.
This might be a new segment on the show every week. What would you take? What would you take for Bill Cornwell? Chuck McGill's with us, and so I get inspired today because you wrote a really compelling piece on herdzone.com that illustrated the importance of just communicating with people in a crisis of this seriousness, this magnitude. I mean, we've never gone through anything like this in our lifetime. And you had a great piece just illustrating the point that, hey, look, social media is a great way for us to continue to be connected. And you illustrated some of the great things that's going on. I mean, nobody at Marshall just sitting at home idle on their hands. I mean, you're still out there. You're engaging with fans, donors. You're engaging with people. It doesn't matter if they're a fan, donor, or not. You're just engaging with people.
Yeah, we obviously anticipated a busy spring. We still had basketball season going on, and who knows how long that would have went. Last year it went into April. We had started up our spring sports, and I not only am I in charge of written content for herdzone.com and oversee a chunk of our social media, and our athletic department publication, Thundering Herd Illustrated, our magazine, but also oversee our streaming. So we had all this streaming going on at once. We had softball and baseball home games, and the potential for more basketball games, and the spring was looming. So we thought, hey, we're not going to get to football, until June, basically, outside of those 15 spring practices. But obviously our timeline changed, and we started thinking, how can we properly recap our spring sports season, our winter sports seasons and our spring sports seasons that we're wrapping up or just getting going. And then, how can we shift our attention to football? Because we have to operate like everything's going to be fine there that last week of July, to open camp, and that we're going to be at East Carolina on August 29th, ready to go for the season opener. So, let's keep Marshall athletics fresh in everyone's mind. Let's keep people engaged. Let's give them daily content. My wife's in the news business, and the paper is stuffed full every day of news about what's going on with the pandemic. And sports have always been kind of a respite from the things that bog us down in the world, and we don't have that right now. So how can we sort of manufacture and really, honestly, people all across the country are doing a great job with their social media contests. I saw where the NBA is going to do a NBA 2K tournament with the players, and you've got all these different bracket competitions, and there's so much going on right now that's keeping people replaying old games and voting in polls, and I think all that stuff is neat because it's reminding us really just how important sports are to our daily lives, and we're trying to figure out how to keep it fresh in everyone's minds and give you a little bit of distraction.
Chuck McGill is with us. He's the Assistant Athletic Director for Fan, Donor Engagement, and Communications at Marshall University. So how do you keep positive? How do you stay upbeat? Because every day you see the numbers, you see the news, and you've got to tune all of that out, not because you don't care, but you're trying to be positive, you're trying to offer content, you're trying to actually connect with people, maybe give them that momentary smile. Yeah, you're trying to brighten their day. You're trying to do that, and I know that's got to be tough because you're trying to do that, and at the same time, you're just like the rest of us.
Sure, and I have family members who are frontline workers. My mother is a daily employee at an essential business that's a high volume of traffic, so I know she's coming in contact with people who might be carrying it. My dad's down in South Florida, so it's real personal. But I think sometimes, with Marshall Athletics, we really do such a good job across the board. And I say we, our coaches, our administrators, our student athletes, academic, cross-campus, everyone, that we really enjoy a lot of success. And I know that people want to use championship banners as a barometer, and trust me, we love the rings and we love the banners and we love seeing our kids win championships. But there's so much more to it than that. And the Thundering Herd Illustrated is getting to our donors right now. That I finished up the March issue. Had a large story in it about our academic success in the fall, which was just across the board the best we've ever done since it's been recorded. And a lot of that is attributed to the academic center that's only a few years old, and we're starting to see the dividends of that. I stay positive because there's so much that we do that's there's to be positive about. And be able to share that message and share what our student athletes are accomplishing. And it's coming through in these videos now. I reached out to our student athletes and said, hey, if you're working out at home, put a camera down, put your phone down and record it so, we can give kids, something to aspire to and look forward to every day. And, read books. Will Almer read Give a Mouse a Cookie the other day. And, anybody who knows him knows that he's just a unique guy. And I think you see a lot of the personalities and the type of kids we have throughout our athletic department, 370 some kids, and you see a lot of what they're about coming through at a time like this.
I think one thing you should do is cooking tips with Ari Agnes. That should be a feature.
Ari's great. She's been very helpful in getting us content. In fact, she has one we haven't released. She read a children's book on video, so we still got to release that one. And we've got a lot more planned. We've got some things to kind of punctuate the men's and women's basketball seasons, both teams, which ended the season on a win. So that's not over. And we've got obviously a lot more football and other stuff planned throughout not just in the immediate future, but we're ready. If this is a April, May, June thing, we're ready to keep on pushing out content in the months ahead.
Well, when you talk to Ari, tell her it was my idea for her to do cooking tips. She'll understand completely.
Absolutely. If we start, it becomes the money maker. So you're basically her agent now.
I think so. I think I am her agent. It's a good relationship so far, and you can't control her. She's so full of energy. You just can't control that. You just have to let it go.
Well, it was just on the radio, and everything you hear on the radio is true. So it's good. You're good.
Chuck McGill is joining us, the Assistant Athletic Director for Fan Donor Engagement and Communications at Marshall University. I'm just going to say, Chuck, everybody knows what you do. You do a good job. I don't have to put a title with it. It's so long anyway. But you've got all of this stuff planned. You're constantly working. You've got your video guys working. You've got herdzone.com as an outlet. You've got the social media platforms. And everybody's been such been so helpful. What are some of the things maybe that's going on that we're not seeing, or what's going on behind the scenes at Marshall University that you can talk about? Because it's not all just, hey, make a funny video or make something like that. Every day, behind the scenes, the athletic department, you guys are doing as much as you possibly can. The student athletes, I'm sure there's, tons of stuff we just don't know that's going on.
Sure. I missed the daily interaction where you had a better understanding of what was going on because you were in our senior staff meeting every week and you saw people every week. Not that we're not communicating, but I feel like now we're more in our areas. So my external team, which, we have an assistant athletic director for marketing, which is Tyler Abel, our assistant athletic director for ticketing, which is Cole Woodrum, and then, people like Jake Griffith, who's our director of multimedia and helping us with those videos, and, people who work under Cole and Tyler. That's our external team. So I'm working more tightly with those people right now. We're not interested at all right now in making money and that kind of stuff. We're not pushing people for tickets. We're obviously not asking for donations. All of that stuff is not a priority right now with everything going on. But then you have people on the other, in the Shuey building, they're working remotely, but the administrators who, are more worried about things like the budget, trying to, keep up with some of the news you were talking about on the other side of that break, where the distribution of funds and anticipating any impacts on the football season and trying to it's all so fluid and trying to prepare for that. You're getting daily updates on the pandemic and what's how it's affecting our campus and our community. So there's so many different components, and we're kind of isolated and kind of segmented off and just focused on our kind of mini huddles now rather than one big huddle. But that's kind of how things are operating right now.
Are you surprised at how efficient everyone has become? Maybe you're not surprised. This is just the first time that everyone's been able to independently flex their skills and still be a team.
No, this is pretty much what I expected. We were able to meet one final time. I didn't go to Frisco, but a large part of our senior staff did, and they returned that Friday after everything was canceled. And So we were able to meet up on Monday and Tuesday for a little bit before we started working remotely from home permanently. And that gave us enough time to kind of put a plan in place and, make sure that everybody had a role and had a duty and was out there doing something to make the herd better. So, we don't have the games right now. We don't know when we'll have them back. And, what we usually do, it's a little limited, but, there's still ways to be productive. And it just doesn't surprise me. We have a good team. We have good people at Marshall. We have good coaches. We have good staff. The kids are great. So, everybody's, and we're again, the point of today's thing was we're so connected, and I want people to understand, if you just have Twitter, we're on Facebook. If you just have Facebook, we're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on TikTok, and then there's all these sub-sites. It's not just your main herd zone, we're pumping content through each individual, herd softball, herd football, herd baseball. Women's soccer, I don't even have a hand in that. I have a hand on so much social media. They're just tweeting up a Storm volleyball. I saw them tweet out, a coloring page for kids. I had nothing to do with that. That's all volleyball on its own, coming up with its own ideas of ways to engage, the public and the community, and I think it's awesome.
I want a coloring book with you, Mike Hamrick, Steve Cotton. I want a coloring book of some of my favorites.
Asking you shall we see?
Okay,
I can put somebody on that.
I need that. Come on. I could have Cornwell in the corner coloring in Steve Cotton. I could color in Hamrick, and we all have a good time here.
I love it. I think that's the next step.
Okay, I like it.
All right, I'll work on it.
Chuck McGill is with us here on the program. You mentioned we're getting to that point now where the leagues, they're doing things with video games. NASCAR, I think, is heads and shoulders. Same with Indy.
Mm-hmm.
Indy, they're heads and shoulders above everybody with the iRacing. I don't know what you can do on the college athletic side of things, but, am I going to see maybe a Chuck McGill MLB tournament? Is that going to be something I can go and watch every other night? Maybe you playing that? Can I look forward to that?
Who would want to watch me play video games? My son does that stuff, and I don't get it. But I watch my son play video games just because it's comical. So.
That might be the new thing, though. Keep that in mind. That might be how we entertain ourselves here over the next few weeks. Because right now, what the big thing is. It's classic games on either ESPN or NBC or CBS or Fox. And we've picked up classic Pittsburgh Pirates broadcasts, which were fascinating. We got to hear the 1960 World Series, Game 7 the other night, and we got one of the games in 1990 between the Reds and the Pirates last night, and UK is doing their tournament run. I'm trying to think maybe we need to do that for Marshall as well. Steve's got all the tapes. Let's get that. Let's open that library up, Chuck. Let's open that library.
You talk about another guy. Steve's my next door neighbor in the Henderson Center. So I haven't seen that guy in like 3 weeks. And he's isolated there over Ohio. So if he's listening, I hope he's doing well. I still talk to him. It's not like his phone number doesn't work or anything, but miss that guy too. I think it's been the hardest part. Paul, was I was talking to a buddy in Charleston, and he said, you mentioned at the top of the hour about kind of my personality and my role, and I was like, I've always kind of envisioned myself as a bit of an introvert. And he kind of called me out. He was like, haha, you learned how much, people around you meant to you, trying to, be able to talk to people and see people every day and actually interact. And, I do. I definitely miss that stuff.
I still think you should get that vault open. You know where it's at, right? Is it his house locked up, or is it over the Henderson Center? Where's that material out? Let's start getting that stuff going.
That's right. I think it is in his. He's got a lot of that stuff in his office there on his shelf. I've seen some of the old tapes. So I'll have to talk to him about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't done that yet. Had like a classic herd game every week.
There you go.
We could do it every other day. Let's just get it going. Steve can pick, and we could do a pregame and everything for it. They'll give you and me something to do.
Well, I don't know if I need more to do right now. I'm looking forward, one thing this offers me is a chance to catch up. And, I feel like I'm always running 2, 3, 4 weeks behind. So hopefully here soon I'll be able to start chipping into that big to-do list. That's not my wife's to-do list, my work to-do list. Those summer projects that sit there, and you can't get them done until June or July. Maybe I can start chipping away at those.
I've already felt that. I mean, I was self-compelled to do it. Yard work. I've been doing some spring cleaning. I found my copy of NCAA football, I think 10 maybe. Yeah.
Wow.
So that might be going up in either I'm going to eBay that thing and make a lot of money, or I'm just going to play it. I don't know which.
There you go.
Yeah, and I've been doing that as well, but that's the challenge for you. You've got such a wealth and so much resources with everybody that's part of that herd family. And you've almost got an embarrassment of riches there, because I don't think you can go empty anytime soon. The tank will not empty out for you, I hope.
No, I mean we have a lot of those ideas, a lot of things we want to execute, and if we're as connected as social media makes all institutions and different sports franchises and programs, you get a lot of ideas. There might not be, hey, we want to take that idea, but you might be seeing something where you're like, okay, that's a good idea, but what if we took that, did this with a twist? So I don't think there's a lot of creative people in collegiate athletics and professional sports that are on social media teams and creative teams. So I don't think we're going to run out of content anytime soon. Otherwise, don't tell him. I hope he's not listening, but Mike might get rid of me if we run out of content. So I better keep doing it.
I don't think he's going to get rid of you.
Yeah. We'll see.
I mean, come on, who's gonna replace you with Cornwell?
We'll see. But I mean, if I start writing stories on his, all-state high school football career, or his 17 tackle game or whatever it was at Marshall, if I start writing stories on those, then maybe that's where I get my job protection.
That's a good idea. I suggested this to Jason Courier when the list came out for the Hall of Fame. I thought you might have released those names one at a time, one every day. Just I got to tune in to find out who. Today it's Albert McClellan. Who's it going to be tomorrow that makes it in? I mean, that could have been so fun.
Hey, by the way, Albert McClellan is I think the first person into the Hall of Fame that I covered. Mike Hamrick hired me, Jack Bogacek hired me in 2009, August 2009. So that was McClellan's senior year. I think he's the first one. So hopefully we have a run on those guys in the few years ahead of guys that, I was a beat writer from 2009 to 11 that, played at Marshall.
I know the research material will be good. The bios will be well written. I know that much.
I hope so.
I hope so too. You're in charge of that, right?
Well, so those bios are, Courier, and of course Cotton has a lot of research. So we got a lot of good writers. Between Courier is my editor of my magazine, and Cotton has written for my magazine. So, and then of course our sports information people, write a ton of copy. So we've got a lot of people who can pick the keyboard there in that department.
Chuck McGill is joining us on the program, and I'm not going to give his title. All you need to know is that he's really good at his job. He engages people, and you should check out herdzone.com as a good starting point for everything Marshall related. The social media accounts are going to be all over the place. We don't know what we're going to see. I mean, we could see that Steve Cotton coloring book any day now. I mean, we could see an acoustic set by Will Ulmer again. I mean, that could happen. I mean, Jansen Williams could sing. I don't know. I'm just throwing things out there.
We'll see. It's all on the table. Well,
nothing.
Hopefully that's self-isolating and staying at home, whatever you want to call it. Hopefully it stokes creativity, not suppresses it. So we'll see.
Looking forward to it. Hey, I appreciate you coming on today. I'm going to be looking forward to watching you play some MLB. It's 20 now, right? You get the MLB 20. You got the new one simulating the season. What are you doing?
I don't have the new one, but we'll see when I get caught up on this list. We'll see what else we can get into. But I'm not to the video game portion of the quarantine yet. So.
I thought you'd be doing that every day, playing Tiger King on Netflix. I mean, come on. I mean, I
have dove into Tiger King. So.
I haven't. Tell me about it. What do I need to know?
It's just a really, truly unbelievable collection of personalities. So, it's my wife. I don't think is as into it as I am, but I'm through 4 episodes, so we'll see if I can finish it up here tonight or tomorrow.
Okay, so I should watch this. You know me, so I should watch this. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely. I think shoot. I mean, we've got enough time right now. I think you should definitely watch it. So
okay.
But yeah, I think it's just a fascinating. And then one of the main characters, or I say characters because they're real people, but main subjects of the documentary grew up in Charleston with my best friend's mom, as in the guy he was the best man at my wedding and I was the best man at his wedding. I found that out the other day and actually informed the mom, and she had no idea that the documentary existed, but that's a fun little connection.
Okay. I'm looking forward to this now. I'm intrigued. Yep. All I know is Joe Exotic and I Saw Tiger as a song. That's all I know about this.
Yeah, the Carol Baskin is the character. She lived in Sissonville in Charleston for a few years in the 70s, and she's been putting these videos on YouTube talking about her time growing up in Charleston, West Virginia. And she was listing all of her friends in 5th grade, and she mentioned my best friend's mom on there, and I was like, what? And I called her, and she had no clue. I mean, she knew of Carol and knew her name then, her maiden name. It's a weird documentary, but I think you'll like it, Paul. Go for it.
I'm going to check it out.
You said you wanted to have fun.
I do.
Fun.
I need fun. I need content for this program because,
all right.
You see, here's my dilemma. I'm trying to keep a straight face. At the same time, I'm trying to have fun. I don't know where I need to go right now. I mean,
No. There's no rules right now other than the rules to stay at home. Stay at home is a rule, but otherwise there are no rules. I mean, you can wear pajamas all day. You can have ice cream for breakfast. You can have steak for your midnight snack. I don't care. There's no rules anymore, Paul. So just go for it.
You remember, I'm here at the station, right? I come in. So I can't wear pajama pants here.
Yeah, no, you can. You can. I'm telling you can.
We'll see. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about
All
it.
right.
Okay, so you're telling me I should just have fun. I should just do whatever I want, whatever I like, do it on this show for right now.
Yeah, if you're staying safe, okay?
Okay.
I want you to stay safe and healthy. That's job 1.
All right.
Then job 2, have fun.
Okay.
It's risky business time. Just go crazy.
Okay, so anything is open game here for this show. Any topic. Topic.
Yeah. If you get fired, that's not my fault. But go for it.
I like it. Like, if you take my advice and you lose your job, it's not my fault, but go for it. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, I will ease into the just letting it all hang out there portion. All right. We'll do that.
Let me know how that goes.
I will. I'll consult with you. We'll stay in touch. Chuck McGill, go on herdzone.com. Follow him. He's good at what he does. That's all you need to know. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate you.
Thanks, Paul. Bye.
There you have it, Chuck McGill. Check out herdzone.com and all the Marshall social media accounts. So that was fun. That was fun because I've been struggling personally. Just what do I do every day on this show? What do I do? How do I balance all of this? And I'm just going to go for it. So when I get back from break, maybe I'm breaking out the pajama pants. I don't know. We'll talk about it when we continue with today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're taking Paul Swann everywhere. Download or subscribe to The Drive with Paul Swann on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Welcome back to the Tuesday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. We are presented by Huntington Federal Savings Bank. Well, a little long in that last segment, but that's okay. Good stuff with Chuck McGill. If you missed any part of the interview today, all you have to do is go back, catch it on demand later on this evening if you're listening live. And, of course, those of you who listen on the podcast, you know the deal. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher Radio, wherever you get your podcasts, where you can find The Drive with yours truly here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'll say this. The one thing that has really helped as far as keeping me engaged is the fact that the NFL continuing their business, even though we're not at that point yet where we're talking about moving games back, postponing games, cancellation of season. We're not at that point yet, so we're still moving forward with football, at least from the NFL side. Today, the Cincinnati Bengals making the announcement that they have released veteran cornerback Dre Kirkpatrick. So he was with the Bengals, played 67 games. I'm sorry, he made 99 appearances, started 67 games. Excuse me there. He also had 10 interceptions and 65 pass deflections. So the Bengals making more maneuvers today again. I don't know what this thing is called, free agency. I'm so new to it. So I'm learning as we go what this actually means. It looks like the Bengals are trying to make the football team better and trying to free up some cap space and trying to put guys on the roster that they think they can compete with. It's strange. I know. I've not seen it before. And so I'm a little new to it. So please forgive me for maybe not understanding what it looks like to see the Cincinnati Bengals try to make the football team better. And, of course, we know it's coming soon, the draft, and there's an interesting story in the Miami Herald. It looks like Miami's still going to try to make a play for the overall draft pick that the Bengals hold, the number one overall draft pick. And if the Bengals fret this thing away, if they make maneuvers that do not ensure they get the number one draft pick and they do something stupid, I'm done. Again, I'm putting it out there. I'm done. If they can't take advantage of this, it's the number one draft pick. Take Joe Burrow, go about your day. You've made all the maneuvers you can to get this point in the season to set up. Andy Dalton, you can't offload him. You're probably just going to release him. I don't see him being the expensive backup quarterback. So don't blow it. That's all I'm saying. But MiamiHerald.com with a story today about the fact that Miami's trying to make that push. Whatever. Don't do it. Don't do it, Bengals. All right, we're going to take the final break, come back. We're going to wrap it up here on today's edition.
The Drive with Paul Swann. Marshall Athletic Director Mike Hamrick. He knows.
Paul's the best.
On ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
We're wrapping up today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. One thing we haven't really got into, I talked a little bit about the Cincinnati Bengals, but the NFL in general making changes. The vote passes. Guess what? They're doing it. The NFL owners have expanded the playoff field to football. Greatest prize, the Super Bowl, to 14 teams. So, can an 8-8 team, as ESPN reports, win the Super Bowl? It's a possibility now. So, here's what's going to happen. The vote was connected to the new collective bargaining agreement, which the owners and the players all approved earlier this month. The NFL has added 2 wildcard spots. There are now going to be 3 wildcard teams in the NFC, also another 3 in the AFC. So 7 playoff teams per conference. So 7 teams per conference. We're expanding to 14. So that's cool, right? More teams, more opportunity. The resulting 6 wildcard games will be played in back-to-back triple headers during wildcard weekend. This year will be January 9th and 10th. If everything goes as planned as far as the schedule is concerned. One of the new games, a 4:40 p.m. kickoff, we even know the time, on January 10th, will be broadcast on CBS and streamed on CBS All Access, which I do have that. It's worth it, by the way, if you like CBS. There's also going to be a separately produced broadcast on Nickelodeon, of all places, geared towards a younger audience. NBC and Telemundo will air Sunday's 8:15 p.m. game. The number 7 seeds will play the number 2 seeds in that round, meaning that only the number 1 seed gets a first-round bye. So if you're the first-round bye, if you're the team, you're number 1, you don't have to play. If you're number 2, you just got hosed. If you're the 2 seed, years and years have gone by, and the 1 seed and the 2 seed have gotten their first round off, and they can sit back and get ready. So now if you're the number 2 seed, you just got hosed. The number 1 seed sitting all pretty. The number 1 seed doesn't have to play. The number 1 seed gets the extra week to prepare, to rest. The number 1 seed is the team that has the easiest path to the Super Bowl now. I don't know if that's cool, but at the same time, the number 2 seed has made a run, and sometimes the number 2 seed has come in and won the Super Bowl. So it's possible. So that just changes the dynamic. So what's the deal here? Why are we doing this? Well, the first reason is you're extending the season. So instead of those 4 weeks where we've got those exhibition games and then you got your regular season schedule, you've got a situation now where you're adding more viable inventory. You're adding an actual game that people are going to care about. Because let's be honest, unless you're me, you're not tuning into those preseason games. You might listen in, you might watch a little bit, you might just say what's going on, you might just kind of be interested. You might be that person. But maybe you're not. So now you're tuned in because you've got a game, an actual game that counts, and you're going to tune in. That's an extra game on the regular season. At the same time, you expand the playoffs. That's more inventory. That's more inventory that the league can sell. That's more inventory that they can offer to their media partners. More content, more opportunity for ad revenue, more opportunity for fans to be in the stadium, more opportunity to buy those overpriced beverages or get some gear at the stadium store, more opportunities, more money, everybody gets paid. That's what's happening right here. We love football. The NFL knows we love football, so they're giving us more football. That's what we're seeing. And with that, I'm going to call it a close to tonight's show. Thanks for tuning in. I want to especially thank Chuck McGill for hanging out with me during these trying times. We'll do better tomorrow. Paul Swann, your host, here on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930. And don't forget, wash your damn hands.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with